Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy United People's TV. It's Matchday. We got PAOK in the Europa League. I know. Can United win their first game in European football in a year? It's exciting times. I still can't believe that stat is true. That's one of the most sickening stats. Anyway, we're going to run through. Normally I do this in a separate video, but it's been a bit busy right now. So I'm going to save my lunchtime video today for a little bit of a video on Sekou Kone, and I'll explain that later. But we're going to do a live and interactive starting 11 and predictions in this show. So I'm going to get this down as the poll for today straight away. What do you think the result will be tonight? All right. What do you think the result will be tonight? Okay. You got a United win. You got draw and PAOK win. I'm going to check the poll later in the show when we run through the preview. Also going to speak about the academy, going to speak about Leny Yoro being back in training. Christian Eriksen's back in training as well. Speak about Yoro and Amorim. Lots of things. And as always, you will fire your comments and your questions in and I will try and answer as many as I possibly can. Let me see who's here from the mod and the member gang. Say hello. Morning to you and morning to you, Alex, as well. We've got Josh. See you there too. Carl, as always. Jonathan, how you doing, buddy? Chris, nice to see you. We've got Jamie Yu. We've got Parchi, Danny, Stephanie. We've got Lyle, we've got Jasper, Sue, and we've got Steve. Matt Frost, how you doing on Facebook, buddy? We've got Nick Greenwood, Wayne Hogarth, Andy, Musa, and Jason. Lots of you tuning in. As always, fire any comments, any questions. It should be a fun show. Now, let's have a little brief conversation here about what's going on sort of with the two teams who have been, I suppose, competing for the title in these last, 2-3 years. Arsenal are having a proper wibbly-wobbly, aren't they? Isn't it funny? That when your players get injured, all of a sudden, it's not quite working out. Arsenal last season, I don't remember them having one injury. The last 2 seasons, Arsenal have really had a good run with injuries. This season, less so. And they lost away at Inter, which is, let's be honest, it's a tough game anyway. Anybody can lose away to Inter Milan. Lost away at Newcastle. It is a tough game. But Arsenal seem to be extremely reliant on the set pieces right now, and it's not working for them. And it's definitely a wibbly-wobbly. I'm enjoying it. Lost their last 2 games. They lost away at Bournemouth. So in the last 6 games, they've only won twice. Against Preston and Shakhtar. Anyway. And then on top of that, you see Man City for the first time, I think it is, since 2018. Losing 3 games in a row. Now, Alex, you're putting it down there, of course, which is completely true. And no one expected it. And credit to him, I suppose. What Liverpool have done at this time is take advantage of these wibbly-wobblies. Because they look really, really good under Arne Slot. I think it's a testament to the squad that was left behind by Jurgen Klopp. And I think it's a testament to the quality of Arne Slot as a manager. Unfortunately. But yeah, when you see City doing this right now and you see Arsenal doing that, I really, really hope, and hope is the thing that kills you, right? The permanent thing that lures you back in football. I just hope that Ruben Amorim, you know what my hope, okay, for the rest of this season, okay? I just don't want United to be the crisis club anymore. All right? Let it be Arsenal having more wibbly-wobblies. Let it be City and Guardiola maybe leaving. Sod knows, don't care who it is. I just don't want it to be United at the top of the news stories for being the crisis club. And I'm just bored of that. That's what I would love for this season. For us to just quietly, people to kind of get bored and go, I'm not really much point in talking about United anymore. They actually look quite decent. That's a shame. Right, okay, who else should we look at? That's what I would love, all right? For Amorim to do between now, November, and the end of the season. And then next season, after another summer, then obviously expectations will change. But that's what I want, right? I'm not expecting United to come in and all of a sudden we're going to beat City 4-1 and dominate them. No, that's not what I think. I just don't want to see us being the club that people point and laugh at, right? I've had enough of that. We've done our dues. Just point and laugh at City and Arsenal. That's more fun, right? Now, yesterday we had a good old chat in the comments about the name of Sporting Club de Portugal and not Sporting Lisbon. And I was reading through the comments yesterday, and I want to pull up a comment that someone left. But I've realised, ladies and gents, why I call them Sporting Lisbon. All right? And you can blame Pro Evo. I played Pro Evo religiously when I was a kid. Pro Evo 3, the one that had Pierluigi Collina on the front cover, the ref pointing. That was great. The best was, of course, PES 6. And then in the game, they're called Sporting Lisbon because, of course, PES didn't have... Oh, no, in fact, they've actually got the real badge, but they still called them Sporting Lisbon. Anyway, anybody wants to have a go at me, all right, just have a go at Konami because they did it, all right? They got Sporting Lisbon in my head, and it's embedded in there, and it has been there for like 20-odd years, all right? So that's the reason I call them Sporting Lisbon, if anybody wants to have a go at me. But I will try my hardest now just to call them Sporting or Sporting Club de Portugal. And somebody left this comment here. Ricardo, thank you very much for leaving this, dude. He said, look, as a Sporting fan, I personally don't mind the Lisbon thing. Makes sense. But it pisses people off because we are supposed to represent Portugal as a whole, not just the city of Lisbon. Plus, Benfica's name is Sport Lisbon and Benfica. Yeah, there you go. So that is Ricardo as a Sporting fan explaining, well, I'm not that pissed off, but this is why fans are annoyed. Someone down there. London FC, Chetan. Oh, boy, did you miss out. You weren't there, man. You weren't there, man. And you can get in the bin. Never a fan of PES personally. You never played it enough. That's it. PES was the one. Back in the day where there was no online mode and you just played Master League, you had the same set of 11 players. You'd always sign over Fami Martins. Guaranteed. You'd get Adriano if you could afford him at some point. 99 shot power. What a game. What a game. Anyway, we can have a whole conversation here about PES. Because what I should do is really start up a little gaming channel. I think I might do that. I'm not a gaming channel in the future, but I love games. I'd love to have the ability and time to play games again. If I can combine that with a little bit of content and work, that'd be perfect. That'd be awesome. I'd love to do that. Why does someone always ring me when I'm live? Unbelievable. Right, let's move on to actual conversation. And this is an interesting one, right? Coming from Sky News, and it's that must have sent Manchester United a letter, quote unquote, demanding the revival of the share ownership scheme. Now, what is the share ownership scheme? After the Super League and after the protest that happened, the Liverpool game that got cancelled, Joel Glazer, in what unbelievably couldn't possibly have seen this coming, in what was lip service to United fans, said there's going to be a share ownership scheme. We're working on it in the background, and it's something that the club wants to bring in. And the idea, of course, my God, that is still ringing. Jesus, give up on the phone. Sorry, that was distracting. The concept of it was that there is a fan ownership of Manchester United. It may only be in a small part, but a fan ownership of the club. Now, must have sent a letter to Manchester United to say this should be revived when it comes to the new stadium. And the idea here is that through selling shares to fans, whether it be 1 share, 1,000 shares, 10,000, I don't know how much it would be or what actual percentage it would be. The concept is that money would then be raised, given to Manchester United. That money would come from fans, and fans would therefore have a say in. I mean, it's not going to be a massive say. It's not as if fans. It's not as if we're going to be moving to the 50. Remember the whole conversations we had over the 50+1 model a few years ago when the protests happened. I can't remember who I spoke to. What was his name? I think it was Matt Ford. Writes for United We Stand, and he's out in Germany. Because in Germany, the 50+1 model exists. And the concept is that no more than 49% of a club can be owned by an investor. Therefore, the club is owned by the fans, and the fans have the major decision. That's how the Bundesliga is run. And if this hypothetically was to happen, just type yes in the comments if you'd be interested in this. I've thought about this. I thought it'd be really cool if this happened, right? And the share ownership scheme was to happen. I think I've said this before. Wouldn't it be cool if we created a pot, like a United People's TV community pot? And I for the channel, I've fronted up a big amount that goes into it, and then everybody else can contribute into it. And then we collectively go as one and buy those sort of shares as the United People's TV community. And then we could have our own little board meeting. I don't know how to describe it, but it would be cool to sort of put it all together and to then have one pot and then one voice that we sort of represent together as a community. I thought that might be a cool idea if it ever came to fruition. I don't know whether it actually would, if I'm being completely honest. Right, because we've heard about this before, and well, nothing happened. It was just complete lip service by Joel Glazer to get fans off his back. Right? Quite a few of you are saying you'd be interested in the idea. I think it's a cool idea. It's something I'd like to explore. I don't know how you do it legally. I don't know how you protect. You're getting into something where there's actual money involved and it's people putting their investments in. I don't know how you protect that from a legal perspective and where the money would have to be held, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah. If it was to happen, maybe fans could part fund the stadium and therefore part own the football club. I've no idea how much one share would cost. This is all completely hypothetical right now. But it sounds like Must are pushing the agenda back towards Manchester United. And there will likely be far more of a discourse with Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth than there ever was with Joel Glazer. All right? Cool. Now let's move on to have a quick conversation here about the academy. That's the academy last night. Just a casual 6-0 win for the under-19s. Just a casual 11-2 win on aggregate in the UEFA Youth League against, sure, it was against Lithuanian opposition, so United should be winning that comfortably, and they won that comfortably. But these academy teams right now are sort of, the way I described it yesterday on Twitter, is like they're normalising ridiculous. Right? Let's have a quick look at some results here. We go to look at the under-19s, and they're the two games I told you about. 6-0 yesterday and a 5-2 win. Let's see who scored the goals yesterday. You've got Ethan Williamson, you've got Fredrickson. Wheatley grabbed one. You've got Missing with a goal as well. And you've got Bianchetti from the bench. And you've got, oh, you can't see it actually, my bad. Whoop. You've got James Scanlon coming on, scoring another goal. He is firing them in for the youth teams this season. And on top of that, with the under-19s, look at the under-18s, man. That's such a ridiculous record. Played 8, won 8, scored 40. And conceded 4. Quick maths for you. That's an average of 5 goals scored per game and an average of 0.5 goals conceded per game. That's what the under-18s are doing right now. And it's ridiculous. Now, the team that is struggling out of the three is the under-21s. You see City flying high at the top of the under-21s table. Man United firmly down here in mid-table, mid to lower table. A very mixed season so far. The under-21s, I've always felt just, I don't know, like I don't like the under-20. I don't like the national competitions for the under-21s in the same way that I like the under-18s, because I feel like the competition's better at that level. It feels like the games are more consistent. I don't know. Sam, you're saying it down there, and I completely agree with you. Amorim is going to be delighted when he comes in and sees this academy team. And I think I've already told you this before, but next week, going to be having hopefully a mini documentary coming out on Amorim's use of the youth at Sporting, all the examples of it and the success stories and anything we can learn from it. But I think there are a few more players, and maybe especially kind of in the wing-back role. We look at Manchester United. Luca, who's part of the research team, big up to Luca, if you're watching, mentioned the idea of sort of Mantato coming in as a right wing back, and you can understand that one. Of course, Quenda, or Quendi? Is it Quendi? I think it's Quendi. Quenda. Need to know this. Quenda. Giovanni Quenda, right? The 17-year-old right wing back. Matato maybe in that role? Don't know. We'll find out. Harry Mass, of course. There's quite a few that you could speak about. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. Why can't we have that goal difference? Yeah, all right. If any team did that in the Premier League, it'd be like game over already. The under-21s teams, they do change all the time. And exactly that as well, John. The best under-21s players are plucked away from the under-21s to go into the first team setup. But yeah, wait until Chido Martin settles into the academy teams. And look, yesterday as well, it's smart from Ethan Wheatley. You got to give him that, right? He knows exactly what we would do by making a split with his celebration next to Gyökeres. I think Ethan Wheatley before, like back when he played, what was the under-16s? I swear he whipped out the... I'll tell you what it was. There was in fact, let me pull this up because I saw Academy Arena shared it. Yeah, there you go, Luciano. This, right? This is when... This is funny as well. Let me pull this up. So this here was when Wheatley scored against Liverpool's... Is it under 18s? I think it was, right? And look at the celebration he pulled out here. He pulled out the Rooney. And the reason he pulled out the Rooney was because in the previous game that happened, he was punched in the face by one of the Liverpool players who got away with it. So that made me laugh. Ethan Wheatley knows what he's doing. Scanlon could play wing back. There are genuinely some options inside the youth teams when it comes to wing backs. Some quite exciting ones. I feel like that's going to be that can be a video that I do at some point soon. But yeah, Gyökeres, he'll be watching. It's quite funny there from Ethan Wheatley. But yesterday, and this is what I'm going to be doing, as I said, my lunchtime video on Sekou Kone. You know how I think it was a few weeks ago I said, well, what's actually going on with Leny Yoro? And it was a bit of a summary of, okay, this is where his rehab started, and these are the different sort of milestones that he's hit. I'm going to do the same thing with Sekou Kone. So just kind of run through what he's been doing since he joined Manchester United in August, because it's been a few months and he's been settling in quietly in the background. But yesterday, he played 45 minutes in the second half for the under-19s. There's some highlights. I think Nathan Salt from the Manchester Evening News was there in the crowd, uploaded some videos of his overall performance. Now, we're not going to be tactically analysing the strengths and the weaknesses of the game. We're going to take a quick look at some examples of what we saw yesterday and what we already knew about before he signed. But it's good to see Sekou Kone in a United shirt. It's good to see him getting some minutes. You can see Amir Ibrahimov messaging him there, Jack Kingdon, Ethan Wheatley, Jack Fletcher, Jacob Devaney, Tyler Fletcher, Samuel Lascelles, all welcoming him into the club. And yeah, I'm excited to continue to watch his development this season. We should be seeing Sekou Kone probably playing with the under-18s and the under-21s, or maybe it will just be with the under-21s. With the under-18s, do you actually have to be under-18? What's the top age of an under-18s player? I know that might be a stupid question. Well, Sam, they have to be under-18. The clue's in the name. Well, if that is the case, then we won't see Sekou Kone play for the under-18s at all. I mean, I think it's probably right. Okay, they are under-18. That's kind of how it works. And in that sense, we'll see Sekou Kone probably playing with the under-21s. Yeah, quite a few of you speaking about Godwill Kukunki. And physically, he's an absolute... He is an athlete. He's more than an athlete. He's a door. Guy's an absolute unit. But also very graceful as well. Let me see what you're saying in the comments here. Jonathan's saying, going as far as saying the youth is the best, is by far the best since 92. this isn't that class of '92 was such an anomaly that it will never be repeated again. To have like 4, 5 like world class, top level players who come and play for your club for like the 10 plus years, but that's never going to happen again. But these academy teams, the under 18s in particular, that age group, it's just a phenomenal amount of talent. And you look at Giovanni Quendo coming through for Sporting, he's 17. Of course, it's different pressures and different expectations, but it was a very intense system he walked into under Ruben Amorim, and he did well. I'm excited, and you should be too. And that's why I was excited about Erik ten Hag coming in, if I'm honest. Not the only reason, because I thought our youth team football, I thought our academy was in the perfect position for a manager like Erik ten Hag to come in, and he used youth to a certain degree. And I think Manu owes a lot of his development to Erik ten Hag. I think Garnacho owes some of his development to ten Hag as well. I think he ended up relying on him last season, which has kind of manifested itself into a slight problem. But I'm looking forward to seeing what else could be done with our academy players, because it does feel like the academy is just in its strongest position in so long. And I've said this for quite a while now. I talked about the transformation of the academy. Adam Lawrence coming in as under 18s manager. I don't know how much longer, by the way, Adam Lawrence is going to be our under 18s manager. You got Travis Binion, who's the under 21s. He won the FA Youth Cup with the lads a couple of years ago. But Adam Lawrence just seems too good for the under 18s. Do you just move him up to the under 21s? Would he be happy to just move up to the under 21s? Or would he want to leave and get maybe a head coach job elsewhere in the lower leagues? Don't quite know yet. But I would expect that problem to arise at some point soon, because, yeah, having won the treble last season, 8 out of 8, 40 goals scored, 4 conceded, the under 18s they're just ridiculous. They're just ridiculous. Rotimi, I agree with you. Talking about academy players needing loan spells. Of course, that's true. I can't remember who it was. Who was it? The person who was in charge of United's loans, I think, left as part of the redundancies. I think Michael Appleton was supposed to come in from Charlton, but I don't think he did. So I don't know who's actually in charge of that anymore. Dean? No, I don't think he will. You're saying, will Ruud take up the position of under 18s boss if he leaves? No, he won't. Edward? Yep, shout out to Nicky Butt as well. Man, you want to go back to Nicky... What was it that went on then? I think it was Nicky Butt was brought in as head of academy, and then John Murtough was involved in the early establishment. I think John Murtough actually brought Nicky Butt in. And then John Murtough was, of course, promoted. And then I think it was a conflict between Butt and Murtough. Then Butt left. Yeah. Prior to that starting, the academy has just been... But Nick Cox is... I've been wanting to get Nick Cox on this channel for an interview for a long time. For some reason, I just can't seem to reach him. I just can't find a way in. United make it extremely difficult. I think it's because, well, look, you've seen, was it United Stand got the interview with Hojlund, and that had huge backlash. United typically are very resilient to work with independent channels. I think it's because there is less control over what goes out and the audience it goes out to, and I think just United are extremely wary of the brand. And unfortunately, even though I know that United People's TV and what we do here is different to everything else that is out there, and I know the principles of the channel, and I know that I would do it justice, and United don't. And so they kind of, I think everything kind of gets tarred with the same brush. That's truth be told. But I'm still going to keep trying. All right. Now, let's move on to the main part of today's show and the main conversation. We played tonight. All right. United against PAOK. Ruud van Nistelrooy gets the chance to manage Manchester United in a European game. Now, it might not be the Champions League, sure, but he will still be excited about the prospect nonetheless. Old Trafford, under the floodlights. You saw the energy that there was against Leicester, and you saw the goals that came flowing. He will want the same thing tonight, and that's what I want. I want tonight to just be another one of those fun games. Chelsea was the tense one, and you can see the players kind of play within themselves by comparison. Tonight should be about let it all out again. Just enjoy yourself. All right. Now, keep adding your. So go down here. We can see that 1,300 of you have voted so far. Ooh, everyone's kind of sitting on the fence. 93% are saying United are going to win. Jason saying, what happened to the Friday call-ins? I had to stop them, Jason, because not enough people were getting involved, really, for being honest. I think people were confused as to how to actually get involved. But I want to bring them back. And Joe, who I'm working with, big up to you, and Johan, I still need more help with the community. I need somebody to properly help and lead on jobs to improve what I can offer the community, because the content is so demanding. I find myself just doing content all the time and not being able to give the community enough attention to do the growth I want. That's truth be told, all right? I'm still trying to figure that out. But PAOK tonight, all right? Rude's going to enjoy it, and I'm hopefully going to enjoy it as well. Now, just want to have a quick mention here for Shola Shoretire, who still remains the youngest ever player to make a debut for Manchester United in European football. He is back at Old Trafford tonight, and I hope he has an absolute stinker. Hope he gets an own goal. Apart from that, I hope he enjoys the occasion until he gets pumped. Now, this is big news. Well, that's the Man United store. Well done, United. Well, you can't click on the video. Man United. I hate... How do they do that? All right, here you go. If you click on anywhere on the video, it takes you to the United store. My God. How aggravating. But Leny Yoro is back in team training. Now, this isn't going to be full team training. I believe yesterday he did around about 15, 20 minutes with the team before then going off to continue on his own sort of individual program. Marcus Rashford, before the full training took place, had his own personal training session too, bit of extra work that he's doing. But Leny Yoro, that's another step in the right direction. Of course, with Leny, with Kobbie Mainoo, with everybody, United are certainly being cautious with any player returning. I still don't expect to see Leny Yoro tonight. I don't expect to see him in the squad, and I don't expect to see him against Leicester at the weekend. But there is a possibility that you might see Leny Yoro in the squad for when we play Ipswich on the 24th. But it's just good to see him continuing on his recovery. Back in training, back out with the lads, because it's been a frustrating time for him. I mean, he would never have predicted when he signed for Manchester United and the excitement was at fever pitch and the pre-season that started so well for him. At that point, he never would have imagined that he would never play for Manchester United under Erik ten Hag and that he wouldn't make his actual debut for the club until like the end of November. It is what it is. It's kind of similar in that sense to what happened with Kobbie Mainoo, if you want to compare it really. Kobbie Mainoo went into that pre-season, lots of excitement, started it so well, got injured against Real Madrid, and I think it was around November time where he made his debut for United, and that was away to Everton. And he was great. And then, of course, Kobbie Mainoo from that point on thrived that season. Fingers crossed, Leny Yoro will do the same thing this season. Now, Rude's been speaking about him here. He goes, it's a big moment for him. That's the first time he's been back in training. Obviously, we're going to get him back partially over the coming weeks and look to get him on board as soon as possible. I don't think it's going to be rushed, nor should it be. Slowly but surely, with Leny Yoro, and it's not... I would be very hesitant to, even if he was fit on paper, to start him away at Ipswich in Amorim's first game. Because that's going to be... Look, Ipswich might be a team that is likely to go down this year, but you saw how difficult they made that game for Liverpool when they went there at the start of the season. It will not be an easy game, and they will want to try and take the scalp of United. All right? Me saying, sorry, it's been a while. There's some new UPTV badges. They are. All the new badges are up. They've been updated for a few weeks now. Actually look really cool. I'm glad we changed them. Leny should start tonight, says Gambia. No, absolutely not. Not in a million years. Steve, thank you very much, dude. Gifting 10 memberships for everyone. All of you. Legends. Get in that Discord, peeps. Get in that Discord. Want to start doing those giveaways. Man, there's so much I want to do with the community. I just don't have time to lead it. I need like a proper community leader. I really, really do. What else is someone saying down there? Is that true? No. What's going on down here? Oh, look at that. So in terms of other players who are back and available, this is just being dropped by United. Reds trio in line for return tonight. Who are you talking about? Anthony, Christian, Eriksen, and Mason Mount have all been working at Carrington with the main group this week. And Van Nistelrooy is hoping to have them back. It's looking like we're going to be able to add some people to the bench that were injured before. We just trained. We're going to check how things are. Hopefully we can get Eriksen and Mount and Anthony back in the squad. So, I mean, Anthony, you know my opinion on Anthony now. Come on. I think I've made that abundantly clear. But back to, I didn't really finish the conversation on Leny Yoro. He's in that back three system on paper. Somebody left a mad comment at the start of the show saying, Amorim's going to love Yoro. Wasn't Erik ten Hag supposed to love Donny van der Beek? It's like, well, that is a proper apple and oranges. And like, how are you possibly comparing those two? The reason I'm saying that Amorim will love Yoro is because in that back three system, those two wide centre-backs, the two outer centre-backs, they have to be proper athletes. And that is something that we do miss. We don't really have. Martinez is not that. De Ligt, I think, can operate as a proper powerful central centre-back. Less requirement on that central centre-back to be as much of an athlete off the ball because he's staying central. He's the one that kind of drops it. He can be the leader in the middle with a little bit less movement than the other two. But the outer centre-backs, they really have to be physically like proper athletes on and off the ball. And Yoro is exactly that. I'm a little bit concerned about Martinez having to cover all that space on his own, but we'll find out. Look, you might get Mount back on the bench tonight. Unfortunately, Mason Mount is in the same category as Luke Shaw for me right now, as in players I cannot trust. Now, another player that could well be back sooner rather than later. Don't know how many times we've said this. Tyrone Malacia. Ruben Amorim speaking about him after training and said, look, he's been in team training for a few weeks now, and it's good to get some game minutes, but probably he's saying for the under-21s. So it doesn't sound like Malacia will be coming into the squad tonight. It doesn't really sound like Malacia is going to be making his return to Manchester United with the first team. And when you think about that, I can't remember. Someone help me here. Well, if anybody knows this off the top of the head, then fair play. I swear it used to be quite common practice for United players returning from injury to play for the under-21s. Get some minutes. Pardon me. I don't know whether it's because the under-21s simply don't have enough games or the timing doesn't match up. But you don't really see that much anymore. And it kind of makes sense to play with the reserves before you then come back into the first team environment. I don't know. I know it was a long-ass time ago that he played. It must be like 18 months. I reckon it is probably 18 months now. But it sounds like we're going to see him probably for the under-21s before we see him for the first team. All right. Apparently, Mainu got some minutes for the under-21s when he came back. Okay. I don't remember it happening that much anymore. Just a curious little point. Someone said, I remember Giggs coming back to the under-21s. Okay, right. That was a long ass time ago. Right. Final little comment here on the last thing that Rude mentioned. This is about Rasmus Hojlund, right? I'm sure some of you would have seen the stat earlier this week that I was floating around about how many shots United have had this season, and more importantly, how many shots players have had. Garnacho, by far and away the most, I think, is on around about 29 shots. Rashford's somewhere in the middle on around about 18. And Rasmus Hojlund is down the bottom with like 4. Like the balance of our attack, and we know this, right? It's just not been there. There's not been anywhere near enough service for Rasmus Hojlund. And this comment I really, really liked on Hojlund from Van Nistelrooy, right? And I said this at the start of the season, and I stand by the point I made. I think Hojlund, while there are strengths to his game, okay, and like similar strengths to what you saw from Gyökeres against City, he can receive the ball like 30, 40 yards away from goal, and he can use his body, he can use his physique, and he can run into channels, and he can hold up the play sometimes. I think Hojlund needs to turn into a box predator. Van Nistelrooy famously only scored 1 goal, I believe, in his whole United career from outside the box. And that's exactly why Rudiger said that. Most goals are scored in the penalty area, so that's where we want to get our players most of the time. And that's where we want Hojlund most of the time. Someone down there saying Rasmus is playing too deep. I just think it's the way that the team has been set up currently. The way that we are playing right now encourages our centre forward to drop deep. That will switch in the Amorim system. The width's going to come from the wing-backs. The 2 central attacking midfielders will be able to stay high and central. So the number 9 needs to be going forward in the box. That's what I'd love to see tonight from Rasmus Hojlund. Is him, and maybe it's because we've not been good enough in the build-up. So that's what sometimes strikers do when they drop and they get frustrated because there's not enough ball there. They drop deep to try and help the play go forward. Rude is spot on there, and we need to see him turn into a box predator. Now, let's take a look and we don't normally do this live on the channel. There's normally another separate video, but it's just, I think it would be more beneficial to do a video on Sekou Kone and just have a chat here about the PAOK game, right? What changes would you like to see? Fire it in the comments. What changes do I think we'll see tonight? If I was to make one change, I would bring Ahmad in, man. I think I said this last game as well. But simply put, the approach that Rashford and Garnacho have to a game is quite similar. And it's also not been working. So therefore, switch the profiles up and have Ahmad in. Somebody who is more technical. Somebody who will create chances in different fashions. And attack in a different way. And that's why I would put Ahmad in at the right wing. And I would start Rashford on the left wing. Garnacho, no Manchester United player in this squad. Like, I don't really think there should be many or any guaranteed starters in that team. Oh, Nana, he's a guaranteed starter, right, if he's fit. De Ligt, for me, is a guaranteed starter if he's fit. I think Martinez has had a shaky start this season. Mazraoui, I'd say he's a guaranteed starter if fit. I think like all the others, really, have got questions because of how they played this season. Onana, De Ligt and Delot should take a break, someone says down there. Mount on the bench. So Mount, we're probably going to put him down, instead of being injured, we'll put him down as a maybe. So he could go up there. Who else could be down there? Anthony, he's not injured. Well, he might be injured. He might not be. He could come there. And the rest of them, yeah, the rest of them are all injured. So Mainu, Maguire, Collier, Yoro and Shaw are all going to stay down there. Malacia, well, I still don't really know what's going on here. Xerxes more favourable in this formation, says Plus, and I would definitely start Hojlund tonight. I absolutely would. And I don't really see why Rude's got to change much, if I'm honest. I don't think he will change much. You could get Eriksen in for Casemiro, potentially. I think Casemiro's actually played quite well in these last couple of games. I actually think it's probably only going to be that one change. Ahmad's coming in for Garnacho. I think that'll probably be it. I want to see Mazraoui playing left back again. That could be a nice little cheeky partnership. Mazraoui and Rashford. Some really nice football there. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Should race into a 3-0 lead tonight and then rest players. Jonathan, I await the day that happens. It gets to like the 65th minute and United take off our best 2 players who go off to a little stand innovation, and it's nice, it's calm, you're just enjoying yourself. That's what I'd love at some point. Don't know when that's going to happen. King Eric is saying Ahmad deserves his chance. Carl, you're saying Ahmad will look for Hojlund as well. Ryan is saying Ahmad for Garnacho. Lots of you want to see Ahmad start, and I think he does start tonight. Steve saying I'll bring Mainu on in the second half. Nah, Mainu's not going to be rushed back, dude. I saw the suggestions that Mainu might be fit enough to get some minutes, but even if he isn't, just leave him on the bench. Do not start or play Mainu. Wait until after the international break. That's fine. Mason Mount could come in for, but that is going to start for Bruno. You could conceivably see Xerxes play behind Hojlund. I don't know if we're ever going to see it. I don't know if we're ever going to see Xerxes and Hojlund in the same starting 11. Maybe you will under Amorim if Xerxes does indeed play one of those roles. I don't know. I'd love to kill the game. What are your actual match predictions then? Get them in the comments. I'll go back to the poll. We can see we've got 1,800 votes. Big up to all of you for getting involved. And 93% of you are saying United are going to win tonight. 4% draw and 2% are saying a PAOK win. And for me, I'm going for a... I'm going to go for a 3-1 United. That's my prediction. I was right with the amount of goals there would be in the Sporting game. Said 3-2 Sporting. I was right. It was 4-1. It's close, though. Not too bad. I'm going for a 3-1 tonight. Alex, you're going for a 4-1. Jonathan, you're going for a 5-0. 3-0 says Paul. 2-0 says Anthony. 3-1 says I'm Legend. 7-0 says Gus. Woo. Another little Barnsley repeat. That would be nice. Graphic, you're saying I'm going to be listening to radio commentary tonight. Old school. I used to love listening. Radio does have its place, especially when you're in the car, man. It can still be good if you get a good commentator. 4-2 says 1 on Facebook. See, Ray Rogan, you're saying 2-0. Andre, you're saying 5-1. Mark, you're going for 3-0. I'm going for a 3-1 win, right? That's my prediction for tonight. And I just want it to be... I go into it with the same team talk as I went into that Leicester game if I was rude. Play with a bit of freedom. Play with a bit of fun. Now, there's more riding on this game because we're 3 games into the Europa League and we haven't won any. So that's a problem. That's an issue. 3 games, 3 draws. We need to win tonight. And I think United will. But I think, and I hope it will just be a game that's got a bit more, I don't know how to describe it. Just to be just a bit more fun. Which is, oh yeah, well done, Sam. You top tier, top quality coaching. All right, lads, you're going to have a bit of fun. Yeah, you really, I'm not going to become a top coach. But Rude's got 2 more games to see it out. It's an interim period. It's different rules and it's different approaches that you do in an interim period. You're not building something sustainable for the long-term future. You're literally manager for 4 games. You have to use something in a small and isolated period that can get something in these 4 games. That's why I'm saying just that approach of do what we did against Leicester. We scored 5 and it could have been more. Although we defended Pup in that game. That's why I'm saying we're probably going to concede here. Natasha, you've been listening to me in the car this morning. How do I sound in the car? I reckon I sound all right. Ish. You wait until you hear the deep dive that we got coming on Ruben Amorim. There is a special surprise at the start of this video and a massive level up for these videos, which I'm very, very excited about. Let me see what else you're saying in the comments down here. Let's see if I've missed any news. Nope, right. Jorge, you're saying if Amorim wins with a 4-goal difference against Ipswich, do you think the expectations on him change because we struggle to score goals? No, I don't think. And the expectations on Amorim will change in the wider media, but he's already said I'm not going to read any of that. So nothing will change on his part. I don't think anything will change on the part of United fans. No one's expecting Amorim's come in and all of a sudden we're going to be scoring 5 goals a game. And if that is your expectation, you're not based in reality, right? What else is he saying down here? These interim games have been the longest weeks of my life. No. The international break after Villa and the international break after Liverpool, they were long-ass weeks. All right? they were long. Way longer than what we've had in these interim games. Gus, you're saying it's a no-pressure game. I don't think it's a no-pressure game. There's more pressure on this game than there was in the Leicester game because we've gone 3 without a win. However, it's United against PAOK at home in the Europa League. It may well be the one and only European game that Ruben manages as the United boss. He will not want that to be messed up. He will want the memories of that. All right. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff, isn't it? Let me check. Sometimes you get caught out by the early kickoffs on these. 8 o'clock. Right. It's definitely 8 o'clock. I won't be missing that. But my video on lunchtime today, please do check it out. I'm going to get it out for 12 p.m. for you. All right. Don't say I don't treat you well. It's going to be about Sekou Kone. We're going to do a quick overview of how he's settled into life in Manchester, what's been reported, and we're going to take a look at his performance last night for the under-19s, and also he made his debut for the under-18s in the week before. All right? So that'll just be just to bring you up to date with what's happening with Sekou Kone, because I know lots of you are interested. All right? Thank you all for tuning in. As always, please, if you can, drop a like on the video. I can see the end of the poll now. We've got 1,900 votes. Big up to all of you for engaging. 93% of you are saying United will win tonight. That is what I think as well. Steve, you're asking for a starting 11 video. Not doing a starting 11 video. This is the starting 11. I think there'll only be one change tonight, so I don't particularly think there's a massive need for a starting 11 video. I would bring Ahmad in for Garnacho, and I would keep the rest the same. All right? I'm going for a 3-1 win. 93% of you are saying United wins. Let's find out. I'll see you after the game, and make sure you check out the Sekou Kone video. Much love.